So here's why I identify myself as an ascension master now. And I told you, yes, I watched videos in the past, but they made absolutely no sense to me. And so I came into this knowing, with the help of Sarah Roberts and the council, just key things that she said that triggered things into my head that made me realize, okay, I finally understand the dimensions and I understand the new earth. So the third dimension is this physical plane that we're in, the separation and, lack, all this stuff, everything that's going on. This is the third dimension. And how we got here, I don't know. They say we wanted to come and have this physical experience. God's consciousness came to this physical earth that they created to have an experience. Now, I don't know if we could look at it as from the Adam and Eve perspective that, it is for us to be separated from God because of the mortal sin or whatnot. So initially we were in, this is conflicting because it was eat of every tree except for the tree of knowledge and wisdom, and therefore it almost feels like they were separate from their all-knowing God consciousness there. You know what I'm saying? If you can know everything but not everything, then it seems that there is a separation at the Garden of Eden of some sort. I don't know.
Yeah.
It just popped in my head, but it's just like, if I can know everything but know everything, then I'm not in your consciousness yet.
Right.
So they eat the apple, and then they wake up to their God divinity and their God consciousness, and because of that, God gets upset and casts them out of the Garden of Eden. So why is our intentions to try to regain God consciousness? At what point did God say, okay, it's cool for you to think like me and be like me and get to know me?
Yeah.
And be like, See, and that's why the Bible, I'm just like, I fuck with it, but there's some things and I'm just like, well, that's contradictory. But I'm not a Bible thumper. I'm not a scripture. I'm sure there's 50 million scriptures that prove a point. But if we actually just use our brain,
Yes.
you know what I'm saying? So anyway, we're on this third dimension, all this suffering, blah, blah, blah. When you wake up to the suffering is when you wake up to the fact that this ain't it. So that is the third dimension, and you're starting to wake up to the fourth dimension of consciousness.
Okay.
Now, dimensions is consciousness. So it's, okay, my level of consciousness makes this reality real, and you can't tell me anything to tell me that this isn't real, which means until I wake up to the possibilities,
Okay.
you can come to me.
The awareness?
The awareness is a good word. You can come to me and tell me joy is possible. But if I've never experienced joy, if I've never observed joy, I never thought anyone was happily married. Why? Because I've never seen a real happily married relationship. Until I married my husband, I was like, oh, you can be happily married. It's possible.
Yeah.
And so now someone can come to me and say, yeah, I love my husband. I believe it because I've experienced, like, oh, yeah, for real. You can't be happy.
Yeah.
Marriage, dating, regardless. I've never been happy with anyone. But now I am, so I know it's possible.
Yes.
So the third dimension is you waking up to just knowing that something is possible other than what we have here. And so you start searching.
Yeah.
And we're in the midst of a great awakening from people who are waking up from the third dimension, and now they're searching. Tiffany and I...
Solar into the fourth and fifth dimension.
We're going to get there.
Okay.
But Tiffany and I woke up to the possibilities in 2012. Remember when we started the psychics and all that other stuff? That's when you start the psychics. That's when you start the crystals. That's when you start all that stuff because you're searching. This third dimension, waking up to the possibilities and reality is what up there. And as you start applying those things in the shadow work and the healing of yourself and those types of things, and you actually start making leeway, those are you ascending from the third dimension to the fourth dimension. And so all of these struggles, it almost makes it stupid to struggle because you're just like, yo, I know that popping off and losing my temper isn't serving my higher good. We think that vibration is up and down, but if our divinity is in God, is God up and down, up and down. God is consistent. God is love, period. God doesn't get depressed. God doesn't have bad days. So in that respect, why am I battling, oh my God, I cannot not say that. Why not? Are you trying to stay in the third dimension?
Yeah.
Are you trying to stay in suffering?
Yeah.
I'm good on this. So it's almost like when that flip switched in my head that I'm doing all this work not so that I can have a better physical world existence,
Yes.
but I'm doing all of this work to heighten my consciousness so I don't even gotta deal with this stuff.
Right. Just
Boom. I haven't had a bad day since.
Uh-huh.
Why? Because one, I know that I'm a creator and every step is purposeful, but also this moodiness and all this other stuff is
temporary.
third dimension BS, and I'm above that. Like, I don't need to be bothered by that.
Yeah.
So now the shadow work and all the stuff that people are doing now is releasing themselves if they are consistent. Very few people are consistent.
Say that again.
Because they believe that it is something that you do. Say your mantras for 15 minutes, do this for blah, blah, blah. When it is a lifestyle, you need to become the vibration.
It literally will naturally ring in your head and your thoughts just
Every
all
moment.
throughout the day.
Every moment.
Yeah, all throughout the day. You will hear, you will say it, and that's just part of that spirituality.
Exactly.
Of growing it.
And so, you know, we move into the fourth dimension because we have now released all of those petty things, and that's why my book is so important, because I literally teach people how to release themselves intentionally from all those petty things. And once they release themselves, now you're in the fourth dimension, which is where my consciousness is.
Yeah.
That's why when I talk to people, we're talking about two different things. You know what I'm saying? We're having that's why, what is the word? The water that we were drinking?
Oh, yes. Liquid death.
Liquid death. That's why when we had the conversation with the person, he was just like, it means death to plastic. And you and I were like, no, that means that you are drinking water that has been festering in a container that says liquid death.
Right.
And now I'm going to ingest that. So we're having two separate conversations.
I see. Good example with that.
So when your consciousness rises, and this is the way that I viewed it, I see it as a sphere. You know, so as you start evolving and changing, you see things from this perspective, but somebody sees it from this perspective. You guys are having the exact same conversation, but you're seeing two different sides. And so as you continue to evolve and grow, that sphere continues to move and change. And so you're having the exact same conversation, but you're having completely different conversations because you're seeing the same thing from a different perspective.
Yeah.
And as your consciousness grows, you did see death to plastic, but now you see you're drinking liquid death.
Right.
And as your consciousness continues to evolve, you'll see it from another higher perspective. You'll see it from another higher perspective, and understand that the perspective that you have today is not infinite. Like, the perspective you have today, it can go even higher. So, because I'm no longer worried, like, I still struggle with these things. I still have to maintain my If I say something foul, I gotta fix it. I've been myself for 42 years.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So I still express those behaviors, but I'm not struggling with those behaviors.
As much. Yeah.
They're not my personality. They have nothing to do with me. They're just things that I've learned, and I'm unlearning them. Period.
Yeah, period.
I don't have to attach myself to anything. You know what I'm saying? Especially when I know my work that I'm doing to enter the fifth dimension, which is God consciousness, the new earth, and all those different blissful things where I can bend spoons with my mind.
Yeah,
You know, I don't know what that means. Star, yes. But, you know, in order to get to that space, I must move into God consciousness, which is love.
Yes.
Which means I must see all things in love. Which means everything that I speak, everything that I do, everything that I think, everything is in love. And I just share this with you because this is just something that, stop rushing.
Stop rushing.
Rushing is lack. Rushing is scarcity. Rushing is poverty. Look at rich people. Look at the elite.
Yeah.
They don't rush. They know something we don't.
I didn't think about it.
Watch rich people versus poor people on TV. Rich people do what the they want to when they want to. Poor people are always rushing because rich people know there's an abundance.
Yes. Okay.
There's an abundance of time. There's an abundance of everything. There's an abundance. That's why when I was driving over here, I was like about to do the typical get impatient in traffic. I was like, what the hell are you rushing for? Do you. But that's everything.
Don't rush.
Don't rush nothing. Nothing. And that's how you reverse the age. That's how you reverse the clock in your life. As you ascend consciousness, you'll see that you'll start aging backwards. You'll see that you'll start returning to that that you that you want to be. You see, as I've ascended consciousness, I've completely changed.
Yeah.
The way that I talk, the way that I speak, the way that I think, the way that I everything. And it's
you had a huge awake thing.
Yeah.
I don't know if it was early this year for you, but or if it was end of last year, when do you think that you're...
June, I sat up in my bed. June 22, I sat up in my bed. I said, I'm going to change my life.
Okay.
I literally sat up out my sleep and said, I'm going to change
Wait,
my
June
life.
22nd or June of 2022?
22.
Oh, okay.